Hello guys, I'm Tom, and today we'll take a look at who the Jester is. One of the most mysterious, terrifying, and enigmatic characters in horror cinema is, without a doubt, the Jester. With a presence that can chill the blood and a story filled with shadows and suffering, this cursed being has left an indelible mark on the minds of those who dare to cross its path. Its grotesque appearance, supernatural abilities, and incredible capacity to manipulate the minds of its victims make it one of the most unsettling creatures on screen. That's why, in this video, we'll thoroughly explore its history, appearance, abilities, and most importantly, how to face or survive this terrifying entity. The story begins on Halloween Eve, when a man named John walks through the park while reminiscing about his daughter, Emma, with whom he hasn't spoken in a long time. He decides to call her to apologize for his mistakes, but she rejects his call and hangs up. At that moment, a masked man, known as the Jester, approaches John and, despite his efforts to make him smile, places a rope around his neck and, using his supernatural powers, kills him. The Jester is no ordinary clown. The next day, at John's funeral, we meet Jocelyn and Emma, stepsisters. After the burial, Emma calls her mother to tell her that everything is over, but at that moment, she sees the Jester dancing in front of her father's grave. When she looks away for a moment, the Jester disappears. A group of workers approaches her, but she refuses to leave, and after a brief confrontation, they are killed by the Jester using his powers. That same night, Emma is in a bar with Jocelyn, where they talk about their lives and the little contact they had with their father. As they talk, Jocelyn gives Emma a photo that her father had the night he died, which deeply saddens her. Emma, furious, storms out of the bar, leaving the photo with Jocelyn. When Jocelyn tries to pay, a man named Larry talks to her about John, revealing that he wasn't a hero and had many dark secrets. Meanwhile, Emma encounters the Jester again, who tries to perform a magic trick on her, but she ignores him and keeps walking. However, she runs into him again and, terrified, runs into a store. The Jester follows her, and while Emma shops, a strange man tries to flirt with her, which only makes her angrier. The Jester continues causing havoc around the city, and in one scene, he confronts a group of children who take more candy than they should. The Jester plays a macabre prank on them, taking their candy and leaving the children terrified. Back at home, Jocelyn hands out candy but feels a strange presence, and when she looks out the window, sees a disturbing silhouette. Emma, meanwhile, confronts the Jester in the store, where the man performs more tricks. Emma challenges him, but he splashes her with his own blood, leaving her in shock. The Jester keeps stalking her, but Emma manages to escape, though she knows he won't leave her alone. While Jocelyn and her friends visit a festival, she becomes trapped in visions of her father, which plunges her into deep distress. Meanwhile, Emma keeps running from the Jester, who continues the chase, and when he catches up to her, he tortures her psychologically, making her believe she has killed her stepsister. Emma, however, remains strong and decides not to flee. Finally, she faces an illusion created by the Jester in which she sees her father, John, and her younger sister. In this confrontation, Emma has to face the terrible words of her father, who blames her for turning her back on him. The girl, emotionally shattered, struggles to free herself from the Jester's manipulation. After a series of traumatic events, Emma manages to destroy the illusion and heads to her father's grave, where she apologizes. In the end, the Jester reveals that she has inherited the same disease as him, hinting that darkness lies within her. The movie ends with Emma, now stronger, constantly visiting her sister Jocelyn, both of them having survived this terrifying experience. However, they know that the Jester is not finished with them yet. And now that we've thoroughly covered its story, I want to talk to you about the Jester's physical appearance what we know about its personality and behavior, and explain its incredible abilities and known weaknesses. The Jester wears a traditional jester's outfit, tattered by time and dyed in dark shades of red, purple, and black, as if corrupted by malevolence itself. His attire is adorned with broken bells at the edges, which emit a disturbing echo with every movement he makes. His face is concealed by a grotesque mask that distorts his features, with bulging eyes that seem far too large for his face, and a macabre grin that accentuates his sinister nature. Cracks and stains on the mask suggest decay and rot. The Jester's eyes are abnormally large, with milky white pupils and a sickly yellow hue, conveying an eerie sense of constant, menacing vigilance. His mouth is deformed, filled with jagged, rotting teeth that add to his horrifying appearance. His hands are long and thin, resembling withered branches, with black claws that seem ready to tear into the flesh of his victims. His towering yet hunched figure enhances his monstrous and unnatural presence, as if his very body were a distortion in space. The Jester moves between shadows and reflections, nearly undetectable in the dim light, visible just enough to instill a persistent sense of danger and tension. His presence is always accompanied by unsettling sounds, the faint jingling of broken bells, the creaking of his body as he moves, and a distorted, menacing laugh that heightens psychological terror, a chilling reminder that he is always near. The Jester's personality is complex and deeply disturbing, marked by a blend of sadism, mockery, and utter contempt for his victims. While his grotesque appearance is enough to strike fear, it is his behavior that truly makes him terrifying. He is a being that takes pleasure in the suffering of others, feeding on the fear and despair of those around him. His eerie, distorted laughter reflects his enjoyment of pain, as if his very existence is devoted to both physical and psychological torment. He often behaves unpredictably and twistedly, like a creature that follows no human logic. He is calculating and cunning, capable of silently stalking his victims before fully revealing himself. Always lurking in the shadows, always watching from afar, he carries an air of omnipresence. The Jester does not merely seek to kill. He seeks to toy with his victims, pushing them into the depths of despair before confronting them. He exhibits an almost supernatural patience, reveling in the anticipation of the fear he instills. As for his motivation, he appears driven by a desire to control and manipulate those who cross his path. It is as if he is fully aware of his power and delights in mentally and emotionally dismantling those who face him. His taunts and mockery are not just tools of intimidation, but methods of psychological dominance. The sheer distress he causes, especially when his victims feel watched or relentlessly pursued, is one of his most effective means of spreading panic. The Jester may also be a being of ritual, acting under a logic beyond mere fear. His purpose could be tied to something darker, a force more sinister than simple malevolence. His connection to decay and darkness suggests a deep link to cursed or supernatural forces. Every action he takes, from his chilling laughter to the way he glides through the shadows, seems designed to strip his victims of their sanity, dragging them into a state of absolute terror before death finally releases them from his grasp. The Jester is a supernatural entity, granting it a series of terrifying abilities that make it one of the most fearsome creatures. Its abilities are centered around mind manipulation, invisibility, and environmental control. One of the Jester's most notable abilities is its power to psychologically manipulate its victims. Its constant presence, distorted laughter, and unpredictable behavior play a crucial role in destabilizing those who cross its path. The Jester has a unique ability to move within the shadows, almost as if it were part of them. It can vanish from sight and reappear at any moment, allowing it to stalk its victims without them realizing it. Despite its thin and hunched appearance, The Jester possesses supernatural agility and speed. It can move rapidly, leaping from one shadow to another with terrifying precision. Due to its supernatural nature and connection to dark forces, the Jester appears to be incredibly resistant to physical damage. Wounds inflicted on it do not seem to affect it as they would a human. Instead, it appears to heal rapidly, as if its body were an amalgamation of darkness and decay. Despite its power, the Jester is not invincible and has some weaknesses that can be exploited, though facing it remains extremely dangerous. But if you ever find yourself up against this terrifying entity known as the Jester, you will need more than luck to survive. This malevolent creature is a master of psychological terror, stealth, and manipulation. But don't be afraid. Here are some tips to increase your chances of making it out alive. The first and most important step to surviving the Jester is resisting its psychological games. This creature feeds on fear and despair, preying on your emotional distress. Its unsettling laughter, distorted features, and unpredictable movements are designed to disorient and break your will. Stay calm and do not let terror take control. If you can resist its mental manipulations, you will destabilize it. Stay composed. Practice deep breathing techniques or focus on something that calms you. If you can remain serene, it will be much harder for the Jester to play with your mind. The greatest weakness of the Jester is light. As a creature of shadows, it is weakened by intense light sources. Keep flashlights or lamps at hand, and if you're indoors, use all available light sources to flood the room. Strobe or flickering lights can disorient it, making it harder for it to blend into the shadows and attack. Break any mirrors or reflective surfaces in the area. These are often portals that the Jester uses to move undetected. Removing mirrors will make it harder for it to manipulate its surroundings and hide. In some cases, the Jester can be repelled or weakened through purification rituals. Although they are not easy to perform, symbols of holiness, such as sacred inscriptions or holy water, may interrupt its supernatural presence. If you have access to spiritual resources, use them to weaken its power. Keep an emergency kit with religious symbols, salt, or blessed candles. These items can create barriers that limit its power. If you are unfamiliar with purification rituals, drawing protective symbols on the floor or walls may help. The Jester has the ability to manipulate its environment, but this power is limited to dark or decayed places. It relies on shadows to move unseen. Keep your surroundings well lit and avoid dark corners. Eliminate areas where it can hide or blend into the darkness. In homes, turn on all the lights and ensure the area is well illuminated. Avoid walking into dark hallways or unlit rooms, as these are its hunting grounds. If you find yourself trapped in a confined space, move toward brighter areas or create barriers that block access to the shadows. If you cannot avoid it and are forced into a direct confrontation, make sure you are prepared to defend yourself. The Jester's agility and speed are terrifying, but its physical form is still vulnerable to damage, especially if you can exploit its connection to darkness. Aim for its eyes. Its unnaturally large pupils are a weak point. While attacking won't guarantee victory, destabilizing its vision or causing disorientation could give you an advantage. Use a reliable weapon, such as a crowbar or a heavy object. Strike its body to knock it off balance, and buy yourself time to escape. And finally, do not fall into its trap. The Jester is not just trying to kill you, it's playing a game. Once it realizes you've figured out its tricks, it will likely escalate its tactics. At this point, survival becomes a matter of outsmarting it. Avoid retracing your steps and leave false clues to mislead it about your movements. Leave misleading signs behind. Knock over furniture, make loud noises, or alter your route unpredictably to confuse it. If you can outthink it, you'll have a better chance of escaping. Surviving the Jester doesn't always mean defeating it. Sometimes, the best option is simply to run. Stay focused, avoid its traps, and use everything at your disposal to escape. The longer you spend playing its game, the closer you are to becoming its next victim. And that's everything we know so far about the entity known as the Jester. The first time I came across this character was in a short film on Facebook, and honestly, besides reminding me a lot of Art the Clown, it also brought back memories of the cursed masks from the Goosebumps series I watched as a kid. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Had you heard of the Jester before? Do you think such a terrifying and malevolent creature could actually exist? And finally, if you ever encountered this entity, what would you do? Share your answers to these questions and your general opinion about the Jester. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, share it to support the channel, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my new videos.